Grandma, I only memorialize the dead. Unless you want to die, then I ain't gonna memorialize you.
That one didn't age quite so well.
I'm sorry that your grandma died. Rip Grandma! Rip Grandma! You're dead now!
What's up, my dudes and dudettes? Now, you probably saw from the intro of the video that my grandma passed away. I've been struggling with that for the past couple weeks now, but it wasn't so much my grandma's passing that affected me. It was more so what unfolded afterwards and what kind of unfolded before, because it's been a whole series of unbelievable escalating events, if you can wrap your head around that. So back in February, I had taken a new position at the company I was working at, and they completely screwed me over. It was bad. I ended up losing my employment, and it was very tough for me. So I'd been struggling with not having a job and not being able to pay my bills, and it's just been hell. I haven't been able to afford even just basic stuff, and I've been applying for as many jobs as I can apply to, and I just can't find anything. It is so annoying because most of the listings that they put for jobs aren't actually real jobs. It's just made to fulfill a business quota, so that way businesses can say, oh, well, we actually put out these new jobs for this year, but they don't actually check the applications. They don't actually make any moves to hire people based off of those listings, and that's a very frustrating waste of time. And then you get into the fact that starting in January, my grandma, she had a surgery to place what's called a Watchman, and a Watchman is a medical device that they put like in this little pouch in your heart to monitor your AFib, essentially, any abnormalities with your heart. And so she had that put in, but the problem was at the time that they administered the surgery, she was already sick. She had what we think was pneumonia, and she had just hit her head, so she had like a bit of a head injury going on, and we really didn't want them to go through with the surgery, but they did anyways. And then her health just spiraled horribly because she ended up having blood clots, which caused a pulmonary embolism, and it cut off the oxygen to her brain so that she was only getting about 30% of her needed oxygen to her brain, and it caused a hypoxic brain injury, and it was horrific. It was really bad. She would have these periods of like hallucination where she would like scream that she was pregnant. She would see like the ghost of her mother-in-law in the corner, and it was really disturbing. I didn't witness it. My sister did, and she said it was very terrifying, and I'm inclined to believe her on that. But my grandmother ended up passing away on St. Patty's Day, and it was a lot to deal with, to say the least, because my grandmother and we didn't have the best relationship. There was a lot of body shaming there. There was a lot of just really controlling behaviors, and there was a lot of really mean things said to me and a lot of mean-spirited actions toward me on her end. And now that I'm older, I can put that away as being, okay, well, she had mental issues, she had body image issues and all that, but it still doesn't negate the personal trauma that I have. It doesn't suddenly make my pain go away just because I can acknowledge that. But immediately after that happened, I had a personal revelation about another family member, and I'm not going to get into that because it is private, even more so private than my grandma, but let's just say it was really, really bad, and it really broke my trust in somebody very, very close to me, and I've been struggling dealing with that. And then on top of that, right after that, a family member of my husband's passed away, and that whole situation was very stressful because I had to go to 2 funerals 2 Fridays in a row, and it was just a lot. Emotionally, it was a lot. During this whole fiasco, during that whole time, one of my cousins basically went on like an internet campaign calling me a liar and having a one-sided argument with himself, and it was a nightmare. And I was like, why are you doing this to me during possibly the worst week of my life? And it was more about them feeling vindicated for something. I don't even know. It was just such a out of nowhere thing, and it was supposedly over an event that happened like months ago, but instead of bringing it up with me then, they chose a week where they knew I was at my lowest, and to me that was just unforgivable. So I blocked them on everything. It was like, don't contact me again. again, because I shouldn't have to deal with my own family trying to come for blood during one of the worst weeks of my life. Because this is a family member that hasn't seen me. Like, the last time they saw me, I was probably like 15 years old. The last time they saw me on like a day-to-day basis. There's a lot of brain development between 15 and 23, because actually my birthday just passed and I'm 23 now. There's a big leap in brain development, and I have problems with other family members too, because they will constantly bring up, well, you had an autistic meltdown when you were 6, therefore that defines the rest of your life. And I have a huge problem with that, because there's a huge difference in brain development between a 6-year-old and a 23-year-old. There's a lot of brain development in that time. There's a lot of growth in that time for someone, and you're talking about life experience being so drastically different. So I don't even waste my time with that. But I had been in such a deep depression due to all of that I couldn't bring myself to record any videos. I couldn't bring myself to edit any videos. I was working on my FNAF fan comic, and I couldn't even bring myself to really work on that because I was just paralyzed by depression. I couldn't even get out of bed. It was very difficult for me, and I just wanted to record this video so that I could put something out and I wouldn't be beholden to my depression for forever and ever and ever. I just wanted a way to kind of ease back into it, get back into the reins, but I'm planning a lot more content in terms of gameplay videos, in terms of art videos. If you guys want speed paints, I can totally do that for y'all. I know nobody really wants anything from me right now because I don't really have a presence at all. I'm only 62 subs, but I really want to turn this into something that I can be proud of, because I do love making YouTube videos. It means the world to me. I love editing. It's a fun thing to do, and I really appreciate, there's not a lot of engagement, but when you guys do engage with me, it really does make my day. It really does mean the world to me, because I'm just someone who likes doing this stuff and I like sharing it, and if people love it, then that makes me feel great, because these are just my little nerdy ramblings or stuff that I personally find just a tad amusing, and if other people find them amusing too, then that's wonderful for me. But I made this video with the express purpose of, I'm not trying to trauma dump, I'm not trying to whatever overshare, I'm just simply stating that times can be very tough for you as an individual. Things will not go your way, and the older you get, the more you grow into an adult. There will be weeks that will beat the living tar out of you. There are weeks that will have you up against the ropes and you will feel helpless. However, it's important in these situations to keep in mind that there's always going to be a new day. There's always going to be a tomorrow. There's always a chance to do things different. And we have it within ourselves to change narratives, to change future, and to make things better day after day after day after day. And instead of viewing ourselves as victims, we can choose to view ourselves as victors. We can choose to take our lives into our own hands. And just because something bad happens to you, something bad happens to your family, doesn't mean you need to sit down and take it. You can use that to motivate yourself to be a better person, to do things better, to empower yourself. Because a lot of the stuff that happened with my grandmother, a lot of that was eating disorders, a lot of that was food problems and a bad relationship with your body. And what I have learned from all of this is that, look, I'm gonna want to be a mom in the next 5 years. I want to start a family within the next decade, and I really don't want to continue the cycle of eating disorders and a bad relationship with food in your body. I don't want to continue that. I don't want my children to get railroaded by that. I don't want them to grow up and hate themselves or hear all this like, oh, I'm fat narrative, because it's wrong. And I also feel like a lot of my grandmother's concerns and a lot of what she told me as a kid was very misplaced, because she said it under the guise of appearance. She always made every weight comment, it was focused 100% on appearance. And I feel like when you talk about weight, when you talk about size with people, you should really make it about the health and functionality of their body first and foremost, because I think that appearance is secondary to function. You should always prioritize the functionality and actual tangible health of your body rather than trying to achieve achieve some image. And I think that instead of critiquing someone and saying, oh, well, you're getting fat and ugly, you should say to them instead, hey, I'm worried about your health because when you are in this particular condition, it is impacting your movement, it is impacting your hormone levels, it is impacting these tangible things that impact your health negatively. And I don't care if you are skinny, and I don't care if you look like a model in a magazine. I just care about if you are happy, healthy, and able to function within your own life. Are you able to achieve the things that you want to achieve? Because some people say we need to bring back bullying when it comes to eating and when it comes to people being obese or overweight. And I think that's wrong, because a lot of the reasons why people overeat or a lot of the reasons why people have eating disorders is because of trauma. You look at any of these shows, you look at 600-Pound Life, you look at 1,000-Pound Sisters, and what is the commonality? You always hear, I got abused as a kid, or I had a very traumatic, unstable upbringing. And that is a common thread as to why people do it. Like, I know why I overeat. I'm fully aware of it. It's because I had a very unstable childhood. I had a lot of factors that really pushed me down that rabbit hole. And also part of it was growing up with adults in my life that had body issues and eating disorders themselves. I learned it from them as well, because I've seen so much disordered eating throughout my life that it has impacted me. I've dealt with issues and traumas that frankly make me afraid to leave my house sometimes. And I'm really trying to work through it now. That's kind of my 2024 goal at this moment, is to not let my brain get the better of me. But the problem with weight loss is that it's not so much a physical thing, it's a mental war. You have got to fight yourself to get yourself to eat healthy. It's absurd. It's insane just how much of a mental game it is. And a lot of these people, they yo-yo on their diets. And why is that? It's because they're not addressing the actual mental root cause. My grandma did a ton of diets, did this, that, and the third, tried to do all these like fad things, and it never worked out for her. And why is that? Because she never addressed the root mental problem. She never dug deep and paid attention in therapy and actually cared. And that was part of the issue that I had with her relationship wise, because she projected a lot of her own insecurities onto me and my sister. She put me and my sister through a lot of things. I remember one of my first memories of her, I was 3 years old at Kohl's and I was trying on a swimsuit, and she said that my belly was fat and disgusting. Those were her exact words. And there'd be plenty of times where she would tell me that my mom would be happier if I wasn't born. My mom would be happy if my sister wasn't born. And those types of things impacted me so hard in ways that I can't even really wrap my head around. And there was a lot of anti-natalism really pushed onto me at a young age, where I was told that children are a burden on your life. They're gonna ruin your life. And for so long, I believed that. For so long, I believed, oh, it's normal to hate your body. It's normal to hate yourself. It's normal to be told how much of a burden you are. And the older I've gotten, the more that I've learned that a lot of what was being fed to me was projection. A lot of what was being given to me, spoon-fed to me as a child, was just somebody else's insecurities. And broken people break other people. You don't get broken by a healthy person. It's because this cycle of damage repeats over and over and over again. And it keeps going until you identify that root cause and you recognize it for what it is and you call it out. But part of that is being honest with yourself and having enough awareness and wherewithal to admit that you have a problem. And I saw this wonderful thing on Instagram where it was a woman saying that the people who are in therapy trying to heal are there because of people who should be in therapy but refuse to go into therapy. And I feel like if you have an extreme aversion to therapy, it can be understandable in some cases, because therapy is just not for everyone. There, I said it. It's not for everyone. I have definitely had my fair share of negative therapy experiences. I can attest to the fact that when women have psychological problems, it's very quickly put down to, oh, well, she's just a woman. She's hormonal. Or there are plenty of cases where I was a kid and I was having issues with my autism, and it was put down to, well, she can't possibly have any issues. She has good grades. Yes, but I'm coming home every night crying myself to sleep because I'm getting bullied at school. And it goes to show the fact that we as a society really try to take the easy way out of really confronting our problems. You look at any sort of situation, whether it be the increase in crime, the increase in all these different horrible things, like the self-deletion rate. And a lot of that comes down to a very negligent society. A lot of that comes down to just very mean-spirited people operating our day-to-day. We've lost the human element of society. We've replaced it more and more with soulless corporate greetings and insincere nonsense that just hurts more than it helps. There's so many people today that feel lonely. There's so many people today that feel isolated. And after talking with my parents, I really see that this is a bigger issue than I thought, because of the fact that previous generations, they had their parents to help with the kids. Grandparents wanted to be involved in their children's lives. And you're seeing now today that is so not the case. I've seen in my own life, I would hear stories of my parents talking about their grandparents and how involved they were in their day-to-day lives, how much they cared about their grandchildren. And then I think back to my grandparents, and it really bothers me that the only one that really tried to put effort into getting to know me as an individual and really cared about me on a level other than, oh, I can just get them to do whatever I want, he was the one that died when I was super young. And that hurts more than anything. That hurts so bad. And the fact that my grandmother and I never got to have a healthy or positive relationship, it kills me. It hurts me very, very deeply. And I just wish that she would have had a come to Jesus moment, or she would have maybe apologized for some of the stuff that she did. But I know that she's dead. That will never happen. And my chances of getting that are non-existent now. But it hurt worse because when Mark's family member passed away, at the funeral, his grandmother was talking about how she got to say everything she wanted to say before this person died. And it hit me like a truck, because my last conversation with my grandmother was the infamous, I don't memorialize the living. Unless you want to climb in the box, Linda, I'm not going to memorialize you. Those are my last words to my grandmother. And I'd be lying if I said I don't regret that. But I didn't know she was going to have such a steep decline so quick. I didn't know that that last interaction would be the last time I'd ever see her. There was no possible way for me to predict that. And I'm just gonna have to live with that and be an adult, build that bridge, get over it, understand it for what it is. But it really does feel like a sucker punch to remember that last interaction over and over and over again. But I put it at the start of this video because I wanted to poke fun at myself. I wanted to be able to have a moment of catharsis, to be able to laugh at it a little bit, just to make sense of it all. Because I find that humor and laughter is the best medicine for heartache. So I'm gonna leave you with this. Make sure that you value the time you spend with people. Make sure that you know without a shadow of a doubt that you have shown people you love them. Show them you care. Never leave it up to chance. Never have it be a doubt in their mind whether or not you love them. And make sure you say the quiet part out loud. If you leave I love you as an unspoken thing, you're not doing anyone any favors. Tell people that you love them. Show them you care. And best of all, make sure to pay attention in therapy and take it seriously, because you are doing yourself and your family a disservice if you do not learn anything from therapy. That's all for today. And if you guys liked it, as always, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye!